You know, the more we hear about Michael Jackson's wrongful death trial, the more this question just keeps coming up. Did concert bosses care about Michael? The co-chairman of AEG Live, that's the company that promoted Michael's last tour, gets back up on that witness stand again today, and the lawyer for the Jackson family just keeps confronting him with emails. Some emails he didn't even write. CNN's digital reporter Alan Duke joins me now from Los Angeles. Okay, Alan, this has not been looking good for AEG. We are in the plaintiff's case, but get me up to speed after yesterday's blockbuster stuff. There's just even more that keeps coming out.
Yes, this trial promises to keep giving, and looking forward to the next month or so of testimony. What we had yesterday and will continue today is AEG's lawyer trying to basically rehabilitate the memory, if you will, and the reputation of the co-CEO of the company in the eyes of the jurors. They were literally laughing in the last couple of days as he constantly repeated, "I don't recall," talking about emails. Emails, he says, I don't recall because now he says he just never read them, or it's just been so long he doesn't remember writing them. Pretty remarkable. Some of them, for example, he was asked, is it not true that Randy Phillips, your boss, asked you when you were editing the This Is It documentary, the one that showed us what happened in the last days of rehearsals for Michael Jackson? He told him to take out some shots that made him look emaciated. These are emails that were read in court. For example, make sure we take out the shots of MJ in that red leather jacket at the soundstage where the mini movies were being filmed. He looked way too thin. Or think, he meant to say thin, we found out, and skeletal. And then there were comments from Michael Jackson's stylist and later from the production manager that he was pretty thin in his last 2 weeks. One of them, production manager Bugsy Hookdahl, wrote, he needs some cheeseburgers with a bunch of Wisconsin cheesehead bowlers and a couple of brats and beers. Geez, that was just 11 days before Michael died. But 4 days later, Bugsy had a more serious assessment of Jackson's condition, writing, I've watched him deteriorate in front of my eyes over the last 8 weeks. He was able to do multiple 360 spins back in April. He'd fall on his ass if he tried now. And those are very serious comments. And of course, we know just 6 days later, Michael Jackson, in fact, was dead.
What did the jurors look like? I mean, when I read those comments, I winced. I felt very uncomfortable about people talking about Michael Jackson as though it would be as easy to help him as giving him a cheeseburger and a brat, or that he'd fall on his ass if he tried to do his magical spins. How'd the jury take that?
Well, I think the jury was laughing at times by some of this, not because it was particularly funny, but it was kind of odd the way it unfolded. And as I reported would happen earlier, yes, the ghost of Elvis Presley entered into this trial this week in a really interesting and odd way. I mean, you and I both remember when Elvis died back in August of 1977. That was the big story, and the biggest story after that was when Michael Jackson died, and the two found a nexus here at the trial. In fact, there was an email that John Gongaware, the man who's on the stand now, wrote just 2 weeks after Michael's death. Paul Gongaware, by the way, was the last tour promoter for Elvis Presley when he died. And guess what? He was the last tour promoter and producer for Michael Jackson when he died. And his friend sent him condolences about Michael's death, and he replied in email, I was working on the Elvis tour when he died, so I kind of knew what to expect. Still quite a shock. So what's happening yesterday and again today is the AEG lawyer is going to try to explain that email as, well, he knew it was, there was going to be trouble because
right?
of
that
all
the
deaths.
concert staff would be, that the concert staff would be laid off. He's sort of explaining it as the shock was the ramifications and the fallout, not the shock that the death resulted, because I've been down this road before. Alan, stay with me for a minute, if you will. I want to bring back CNN's legal analyst, Paul Callan, who is not only a criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor, but a teacher of law as well. Part of his expertise is in cases involving professional liability. And also with us, another favorite HLN legal analyst and criminal defense attorney, Joey Jackson, who has loads of experience defending clients under the glare of cameras. First to you, Paul. I have to remind everybody, we are in the plaintiff's case, so it is we sort of think at this moment, yikes, this case is over, but it's not, is it?
Always the voice of reason, Ashley.
Well, I try. Go ahead, Paul.
It's far from over, and it's just one tragedy after another when you look at Michael Jackson's life. But I think ultimately what we have to remember is the jury's going to be looking at what the concert promoter, AEG, what's their responsibility here? I mean, they're not his parents. They're not his relatives or his family. They hire him to do some concerts. And is it their job to make sure he's eating peanut butter sandwiches and hamburgers? Is it their job to make sure he's got the right doctor? Their defense ultimately is, hey, he's a professional. It's not our job to do this. So as embarrassing as these emails are to them, in the end, I think their lawyers are going to say, he's a professional. He's got lawyers and doctors. It's up to him to take care of himself.
So, Joey, listen, does it, look, you can say all you want, you can make them out to be monsters if you want, but does it all come down to who hired the doctor who's sitting in jail because of the killing?
You know what, Ashley? I think that's a huge part of it, because remember, this is not only about what they knew, it's about what they should have known. And when you have an email that talks about, I worked on the Elvis tour, I knew what to expect, what you're saying is you're equating it to what happened to Elvis Presley and his unfortunate demise. And if that's something that you as a company was on notice of, then certainly you had an obligation to ensure that his health would be proper, that he would be able to perform adequately, that he could fulfill his obligations, and to do that, he needs to be healthy. And so it comes down, Ashley, to the issue of negligent hiring. And did you adequately supervise this hiring? Did you adequately do what you were supposed to do? And if the answer is no, and you were on notice of his health, negligence and therefore liability.
And so this means if Joey Jackson were representing Elvis Presley, we would have no Elvis Presley music.
Oh, there's
because Joey would not let him perform or record. So,
this is just Heartbreak Hotel right here. Okay, listen, all of you, thank you. Alan Duke, Paul Callan, Joey Jackson. I just adore you all, and you're so smart.
Not as much as we adore you.